Lisa from the San Diego Lifestyle, and I'm here today in the beautiful Del Mar, San Diego, California, and I'm here at Tasting Room Del Mar. We're out on the patio right now, but you can also head on inside. There's some gorgeous things to see, and we're also going to meet owner David Taylor, so let's go meet him. Anticipating this, so we are here with owner David Taylor to talk about a little bit about what's going on here and where we are and how incredible it really is. So tell us a little bit about it. I'm so happy to see you again.
Thank you for taking an interest, first of all.
Yeah.
So I've thought about doing this kind of thing for a long time, but yet I'm not from the restaurant or wine space. I'm a tech guy. I've been a tech guy for 30 years. I was in Silicon Valley for 18. I was down here for quite a while. When I was in Silicon Valley, a friend and I used to talk about opening a wine bar before wine bars were actually kind of a thing.
Oh my gosh.
But we were busy doing our tech thing. We never got around to it. When I came down here, the idea never went away, but I was still busy for quite a while. But after I sold my last company in 2011, I was having a little bit of trouble figuring out the next passionate thing that I wanted to do. I kind of fell back and said, you know what, maybe I ought to pursue that avocational interest again. And so I've now invested in two things that, at least by reputation, are very difficult to make money in. One is, I started a winery in Paso Robles 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
We call it Cordant Winery.
Okay.
And my partner is the winemaker. He lives in Paso, and we've just released our 2014 wines.
Wow, how exciting.
And, it is, and they're tasting pretty well.
Yeah?
We're still building a channel, not that many people know about us yet, but so that's fun.
Yeah, definitely. How has it been? What are some of the challenges been running that?
The good news is my winemaker's been doing this a long time, so he doesn't need me to micromanage him. In fact, he would prefer that I not micromanage him. But I think now, being as the wines are ready to go, the next challenge for us is to build a channel.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and it's true in the tech space too, it's great to build a cool widget, a great widget, but at some point you got to sell stuff. And so that's what we're trying to figure out how to do now. And we're just about to open our own tasting room this fall. We have our own space finally. We've been cohabitating with others for a while.
Okay.
So we'll have our own space around October.
Wow.
And we're also trying to build some other channels.
Okay.
And we have the wines here at Tasting Room too.
Yes. So tell us about this whole other venture that you got into.
So this kind of is that extension of, hey, let's do a wine bar kind of thing. And it's evolved to be much more than just a wine bar, actually. In any business, it's really about the people. And you raise the business element or lower it based on the people that you have. And we have a phenomenal crew of people here. Our general manager and executive chef, Steven, is from the LA area.
Okay.
He's got a great background. He loves to pair foods with beer and wine.
That sounds perfect.
And our wine director, Rusty, is a second-level sommelier, now working on her advanced.
Wow.
And she's remarkable as well. We're really fortunate about that. The concept is we're kind of a three-legged stool. Craft beer, boutique wine, locally sourced farm-to-table food. And one of the elements that's a little different with us, I think, is that we have focused on both beer and wine.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Most people are just
They usually
one
do
or the other. Yeah.
And then they just have a little bit of token acknowledgement of
right.
the
So
other
you're trying
one,
to
right?
go full force in both areas.
Yeah, we
Okay.
are.
I know you have the huge wine room back there.
We do. That's fun. It's a great place to hang out, especially in the summer.
Oh yeah, I was back there a few minutes ago. It was very nice and cool.
And then our food is locally sourced farm-to-table style food, but
People are
everything.
loving these days.
It is, and our chef Stephen is very passionate about the reasons why we're doing these kinds of things: sustainability, supporting local businesses, and a number of other things that are important to him as a chef.
And I think they're starting to really become important to Del Mar too as a community.
I think so. I think the style, the format that we have, that tasting room, is compatible with Del Mar itself. It's a little different. There's some great restaurants here in Del Mar, but we're just a little bit different, and I think that offers people a little different opportunity. By the way, our food is kind of smaller plate oriented, smaller portions, hence tasting room.
Okay.
So tasting of wine, beer, and food. Of course, it's full dinner fare as well, but
Yeah.
you order
Delicious.
multiple plates.
Okay, so what is some of your favorite dishes and plates and bites?
Oh wow, that's kind of like
What's your first all-time favorite thing on the menu if you were to pick anything?
my first all-time favorite thing. Well, one of the things I might choose is a dessert
Oh,
that our chef de cuisine Jenny developed called Another Story.
oh God.
It's a nougat center chocolate roll with ice cream. Really spectacular. But I think one of my favorite dishes is one that we call sorghum, which people may have kind of heard of, but it's actually a super grain.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
And Brandon Hernandez from Ranch and Coast wrote a very nice article about us. And he picked out that sorghum and said it might be the best vegan dish in the entire county.
Wow.
We didn't set out specifically to do a vegan dish, but we do a lot of different styles of food, and it's really stunning. That's still on the menu. By the way, I say it's still on the menu because we rotate our menu.
Oh yeah.
We rotate our menu,
Seasonally, or-
not just seasonally, but kind of at the whim.
Okay.
Whatever is available. Hence this local harvest concept.
Okay.
It keeps it interesting, we hope, for our customers. It keeps it interesting for our staff as well.
Yeah.
And our staff is very innovative. One of the things you want to be is standing next to the service window when they're experimenting in the back. That's
Oh,
a fun
gosh.
place to be.
And you have the special seating over there where you can actually watch your dinner being cooked, right?
We do. That is a cool place to
That's
sit.
one of my favorite things of all time. I love it. Yeah, and then you have this area is kind of a lounge area almost, and then you have the bar, and then tell me about the outside because
The
tell
outside.
everyone what it used to
Yeah,
be and
yeah.
how you got that because that is an incredible story.
Well, first of all, to get the space, this is a once in 20-year kind of space on kind of the corner in Del Mar.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate. When we decided we were ready to move forward with this concept, I think the second day we went out to drive around looking for possible spaces, this was available. And it was
my
like in a caricature way, it had a halo around it that said, "I'm yours for the taking."
We are right across
And,
from La Berge, everyone, just so that you get kind of an idea. We are on the prime corner of Del Mar.
We are. So we're fortunate about that. And we submitted a proposal to the landlord, and they had about half a dozen others.
Oh wow.
And they came back and said, "We don't want another bagel shop, another yogurt shop, or a sandwich shop. We want something that we want to go to after work."
Yeah. There you go.
So that worked out. But one of the things, for those familiar with Del Mar, there was a flower shop on the corner that has been there for about 40 years, back in the 70s. And the landlords, about 2 weeks after we signed the lease, suggested that we might be able to pick up that flower shop because it wasn't part of our original lease.
Oh wow.
So they introduced us to the lady that ran the flower shop, and we had a discussion and worked out a deal, and now that flower shop becomes our outdoor bar.
I love it.
And we have another 6 taps out there, another white and red wine refrigerator, and so it's kind of a cool place to hang out. In fact, as beautiful as we like to think the inside is, everybody wants to be outside
Yeah.
in the summer in Del Mar.
It's hard not to be. The sunsets are incredible outside and eating right out there. It's beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So tell us something else. Tell us more about the wine. I know that's a huge part of it. Tell us
Right,
a little bit
right.
about the specifics. Maybe what we have here. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, in fact,
There's some mystery to
we'll start here. This happens to be,
Cheers.
cheers. This is a Saxon Brown Pinot Noir, Durrell Vineyards. We are having our very first winemaker event this evening
Ooh,
with Saxon Brown.
how exciting.
And in fact, Jeff will be here in just a little bit. Awesome winemaker. So we're going to do this kind of thing, events like this, fairly
Is that going to
frequently.
be inside or outside?
This is going to be outside.
All
Where else?
right.
And we'll do events like this, I don't know, every few weeks, every month, something.
Yeah, I follow you on Facebook, and you guys are doing events all the time, it seems.
Yeah. We've got a Society Brewing event coming up the end of September.
Okay.
We've got another winemaker dinner also in September with Dragonette, another wonderful producer in the Santa Ynez area, Santa Rita Hills area. So in terms of our wine program, a little bit like food, we want it to be a bit dynamic, and we will change things up. As we put together our By the Glass list, Rusty and I and another partner of mine and a couple of other people, we tasted a lot of wine. It was a very tough job, Amanda, but somebody had to do it. But we did it actually in a serious way. We rated all of the wines we tasted.
Wow.
We combined our spreadsheets and we chose that unique Venn diagram central location where everybody liked those wines, and those became wines on our By the Glass list, and also in our cellar. By the way, you can buy bottles and take them out there. We have a retail license as well.
Awesome.
But one of the things that has frustrated me over time, and one of the motivations for starting Tasting Room, was sometimes I would be unsatisfied at bars that I would visit with the wine selections.
Yeah.
I'd also be unsatisfied sometimes with the staff that worked behind the bar, because even if they had a good product, sometimes they didn't know about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of wines out there.
There are a ton.
For the most part, people even in the business don't always know the wines. You want somebody behind the counter who can say, you know what, based on our conversation, I think you ought to try this. And I know for me, invariably, I will always do that. And so that's the style we want to have here. So it's education-based as well. About 40% roughly of our wines are California, kind of representing our location.
Okay.
60% are elsewhere. We of course represent other areas in the U.S., Washington, Oregon in particular. And then the other 50% or so are international wines. And those are from everywhere also. France, Germany, Italy, south of the equator, and so forth.
World class.
Yeah. And part of it is we want to provide something interesting for our customers, but also educationally for those who have an interest in exploring other things. And if anybody ever has a question, come talk to Rusty. Rusty is amazing.
So tell us a little bit about kind of your thought process on making the wine list.
Well, it was a huge kind of collaboration with David and I, but my whole philosophy is small batch, small production, boutique wines, and then also introducing new wines to the entire community. So there's a lot of Napa Valley Cabernet, Chardonnay, so really bringing an international wine program to Del Mar. And then also introducing education. I'm not sure how much you touched on education.
I touched on it a little bit.
But it's huge for me, being able to teach classes and being able to, you can go ahead, teach classes for the staff, classes for the public is huge for me. We actually have our first public wine class coming up on the first week of August.
Oh wow, here?
I don't think I even knew that. Yes. What's going on there?
Yeah, so just a...
Do they have black bean?
You charge for it?
This first one will be $15, and that includes a wine pairing, so a little wine session, 3 wines to start out with, very simple. We'll be just going through the differences of Chardonnay on the first, or from different regions of the world for the first class, just to start basic, and then we'll incrementally go from there.
How exciting!
Yeah.
So how has the Del Mar community reacted to the wines that you've chosen?
For the most part, really well.
Good.
Yeah, for the most part, really well. And the fact that we can offer retail gives people the comfort of being able to take the newfound wines home.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of times you go to wine bars or restaurants that have amazing wine and you can never find it anywhere else. So at least they have that ability to take it home.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for popping in. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
Yeah.
Enjoy your time.
Thanks, Rusty. By the way, just following up something Rusty mentioned based on your question about how has Del Mar received us.
Yeah.
we have always thought that our customer are the Del Mar customers. It's a, you know, this area happens to have a little more sophisticated wine palate, and we've wanted to design our restaurant, wine and beer program that are compatible with people who live in Del Mar. And I think that's gone really well. In fact, just kind of on a little funny side note, before we opened, we were all sitting in here working one day. We had a guy burst in the front door, and he goes, "Thank you." Thank you for what? Thank you for opening the extension to my living room.
Oh my
He lived up the
gosh.
hill. And although that was kind of a funny thing he did, it's kind of
That's so
representative of what we have going on here with our locals. We've had people come back so many times, and they're just so excited to have, you know, kind of a new concept here.
Yeah.
So,
There's not
good.
too much going on down here, so it's exciting to have something new.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about kind of the logistics, parking, basic pricing of the restaurant, and are you open for lunch, dinner, things like that?
Right. Parking.
Parking in Del Mar, that could
It's
be a whole other
Del Mar.
story of its own.
Yeah. It actually took 5 months of negotiating with the city to resolve the parking issue.
Oh wow.
It's not customer visible though, it's really algorithmic the way Del Mar defines parking requirements for a specific business. So
Okay.
once we resolved that, then we moved forward. But we do have a few spots in the plaza across the street. There are some spots here as well. But as everybody knows who comes to Del Mar, you kind of fend for yourself in terms of parking.
Yeah, sometimes on the busy nights you end up parking blocks
Yeah.
and blocks down the road, but
Yeah.
that's part of the fun is walking by and seeing the shops and the little cafes and eateries along the way. So I think
Yeah.
it kind of gives it that Del Mar touch.
And we're open every night except for Monday.
Okay.
And we don't have a rigorous closing time, you know, 9-ish maybe, but we've served up till 10 o'clock. There's a lot of people hanging around and we're busy, and so it kind of depends on what the night looks like just a little bit.
Okay. And then you do private events,
Yeah,
right?
we are generally closed Mondays, but today's Monday, and we have our Saxon Brown winemaker dinner.
So is
and
that when
we'll
you
have-
normally try to do
we'll
the
try to
events
do
on
events.
Monday?
Yeah, we'll try to do most events on Monday. We haven't wanted to stress the staff in the restaurant too much, so we've been experimenting with lunch a little bit. We've been open the last month for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
And so I think people are still trying to figure out about our lunch schedule.
Yeah.
We're, I think, known right now more as a dinner spot. And by the way, we're a little unique in the sense that we have people do pre-gaming. They'll come in, have a glass of wine or beer before they go to dinner somewhere else at one of the other great restaurants around
Sure,
here.
and there's a big TV here on the wall, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
an important part for a lot of people.
That's right. We have the Olympics coming up here in a few weeks.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah. And then, of course, there are those who come for dinner because our food is, Stephen's so talented.
It's
just
incredible.
really, it's really
Everything
great.
that I tried a few weeks ago when we were here
Yeah.
was amazing.
And then we'll have people that stop by after dinner. Our desserts are great. I mentioned another story earlier, the name of our chocolate dessert. And people stop by for a nightcap too. So we're often here until, you know, easily 11 o'clock on weekends. People are hanging around outside. So
How exciting. That's so awesome. And how long have you been open now?
7 weeks and
Oh my
3
gosh.
days.
Wow.
Not very long.
And has it been just a flood, basically? Has it been just overwhelming?
Well, we've been very busy. We're very satisfied with the turnout. But we didn't advertise unintentionally.
Yeah.
We're getting our roots. We're getting the process down with our staff, and that's going very well. We feel very good. We're getting busier every single day, but we can handle it.
So tell me a little bit more about how you hired your chef and more about your team that you have, because I know it's pretty incredible.
Well, we were very fortunate. Stephen was introduced to us by other people within the beer community in San Diego. In fact, Rusty was introduced to us by those same people, so we're very grateful, actually. And, you know, when you bring in people like Stephen and Rusty, they have just elevated the concept of what it is that we're doing. Stephen's very talented, but he also brought in an incredible team as well, including our chef de cuisine, Jenny. In fact, Jenny was on a recent episode of Cutthroat Kitchen.
Oh wow! Everybody loves Cutthroat Kitchen.
Which she won.
Wow!
Right?
Congratulations!
And I think they've had her back to film 2 more episodes.
Oh my gosh!
But
How
apparently
exciting.
mum is the word. We
Yeah.
have no idea what the result of that is.
Oh.
So we'll have to apply Jenny sometime. I think she'll tell us. So, anyway, but maybe I'll see if they're available. They're working for our dinner this evening, but let me see if they're available for a few
All right,
minutes.
that would be great.
So Amanda, I'm probably not the best person to really talk in detail about our foods, which are pretty spectacular. As I mentioned, we're very fortunate to have hired Stephen Lona. So I wanted to introduce Stephen and our chef de cuisine, Jenny, and they're responsible for all the amazing stuff we put out of the kitchen.
It's so nice to meet you guys. It's a pleasure. And our audience is basically everyone in San Diego, so they're going to be so excited to see a little behind the scenes of the chefs. I know you guys are so busy prepping for this event tonight, but tell us just one quick minute about how you came up with the concept, the small plates, and kind of how it all ties in here.
Conceptually, we wanted to have the ability to have food be somewhat of an adventure in line with the beer and the wine. So we wanted people to be able to try multiple courses and not feel constricted to only having one dish because of the size. So we felt like if people really wanted to get a true expression of what we cook, that it would be best to price the menu and size the menu in a way that allowed them to really browse through several plates on one particular visit.
Awesome. And then tell us a little bit about the Surrender series. I saw that on the website. What is that? Sounds scary.
So our Surrender series is the idea that a guest can come in, and if they're feeling adventurous, they can literally put their dining experience into our hands and the hands of our servers and our sommelier. It would be either 3 or 5 courses, and they can kind of detail the things that they might not like, and we'll engineer a menu for them, and our sommelier will pair wines and beers to go with those courses.
Wow.
And by the way, you want to do that. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's the most fun.
And then tell us a little bit about your experience in the kitchen and also on TV. I know you've been doing
Oh
some
my
exciting things.
It's important.
It is. It's very exciting for this
It's-
town and this restaurant. And
It's embarrassing to talk about it only because the incredible sport has been like overwhelming and so much fun. It was super fun to film, and having that to kind of get a little momentum here to get us noticed is very exciting. That brings people in the door, and they're excited to eat here. I'm excited to be here. I've been in San Diego my whole life, so I've been cooking for the last 8 years professionally. And so when I met up with Stephen, we have very similar philosophies when it comes to food and what we want our guest experience to be. So it's been almost like kind of like a match made in heaven.
wow. So what was the most crazy, terrible thing you had to do on the Cutthroat Kitchen show?
Oh man,
The stressful moment.
Yeah, the sugar sandbox was really tough. So
Oh
I've
my
been a pastry chef. Baking a sugar cookie should be no problem for me. So that kind of sabotage where it just throws off all your ratios for baking was like a nightmare. And I went into it, I was like, I lost. I'm done for sure. I'm cut. I did my best, but somehow
You won.
I did okay.
That is so awesome.
So I have a question, actually. You guys come out with new dishes all the time. And the best place to be when you're coming out with a new dish is standing outside the window saying, how about a taste? Right? So that's a great place to be. But how do you come up with the dishes that end up on our menu?
We have a very proprietary way of doing things. We just talk, honestly. We browse around through lists of produce and lists of fish and meat, and we just converse. And a lot of times it starts with Jenny or it'll start with me, and we're like, we want to deal with one particular ingredient. What would work well with that? And sometimes I'll say an idea, and Jenny's like, that's awesome. Sometimes I'll say it, and she's like, oh, that's a good idea. And I'm thankful for that, because there's sometimes I'm like, I'm going to do this. And she's like,
I'm like, no!
probably not this time. But it is kind of a wonderful just kind of dialogue. It's a conversation, we talk, and the dishes kind of become an amalgamation of what we're both aspiring to do.
And maybe it starts with me saying, hey, let's do lamb belly. And Stephen's like, well, what about this? And then I'm like, well, what about that? How about we add this? And the next thing you know, we have a dish.
Wow.
And it's been a
And you have
collaborative
a
effort.
YouTube video and you've got like 20,000 likes.
It's a very organic process, and it's really really wonderful because the dishes still retain the identity of whoever first kind of thought it up.
Yeah.
You can still feel the spirit of that person in it, but it does take on a collaborative sense. It just holds its original identity, which is a really cool process.
And Steve and I have very different cooking styles, but we're kind of here to help each other and be sounding boards for each other and kind of like guide it to make it the best dish it can be. So maybe it's something that is a little bit more my style, but Steven gives his input to make it better and vice versa.
Wow. Well, every single dish that I've tasted here at Tasting Room Del Mar has been incredible. And I look forward to every time I come trying something new and trying the Surrender series. So thank you guys all so much. Thank you, David, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks for showing us around Tasting Room Del Mar. Make sure you guys check it out for lunch sometimes here and there if they're open. And dinner for sure. Try their wine and their beer and their bites. And is there anything I'm missing? It's incredible.
Come
Try
and
it
meet the
out.
staff. That's really what drives the restaurant. It's
Awesome.
filled with a lot of wonderful people here.
Very
All
well
right.
said.
Well, thank you guys so much. Cheers to that.
I was like, cheers!